Hello students. Today let's learn chapter number 13 from module 4, classes and functions. So in the previous chapter we have learnt classes and objects. That is, we have learnt what classes are and we have also learnt how to create objects. So we had the example of point. So with that we learnt what we mean by the attributes of an object, and we also created an object rectangle, and we have learnt how to access the attributes of the objects, and we also saw how to copy the objects, and we know that the objects are mutable and so on. So in this chapter we'll see how to write functions for the objects. So let us write functions that take objects as parameters and return them as results. Yeah, here we have the two links in which you can find the code examples and their solutions by this textbook. Now let's consider the object time. So for that, first of all, we'll define a class called time that records the time of the day. Observe the spelling, it is case sensitive. The class definition looks like this: class time. So class is the keyword, time is the name of the class. This represents the time of the day, and the attributes we are going to use for the time is hour, minute and second. Now we create a new object, that is a time object, and assign attributes for the hour, minute and the second. So here we have a statement time is equal to time. So time is the object name. Of course you can give any object name. Here we have given it as time. Observe the case, and this is time is equal to time in empty parenthesis. So this means you are creating an object time of this time type. Then we assign time dot hour is equal to 11, time dot minute is 59 and time dot second is 30. That is, I am assigning the time 11 o'clock 59 minutes 30 seconds. So when we make these assignments, the state diagram of this time object looks like this. So you have 11, 59 and 13 for hour, minute and second. Now let's write an example program. So write a function called print time that takes the time object and prints it in the form of hour colon minute colon second. So this is the format we want. The format sequence percentage point 2d prints an integer using at least 2 digits, including the leading zeros if necessary. That is, percentage d is a format character used for integers in Python, and point 2 indicates that we want 2 digits of that integer. So here we represent the we define the class time, and we have the define print time function. So this function prints a string representing the time. So now observe, this is a string. This is just a string. Okay. Now this is explaining what we want to do in this function. Then here we have the print statement. We have written print percentage point 2d colon percentage point 2d colon percentage point 2d. Observe, this is a string. So here, as I said, percentage d is for integer, point 2 indicates that we want 2 digits of that integer. So this string will be printed as it is. Only in place of these format characters, the values of these attributes will be printed in the output. So now this is a string. So you have the string starts here and the string ends here. So this is what we want to print. This indicates the end of the string, or a separator between the string you have and the attributes, and this will print the values of t dot r for this percentage d, t dot minute for this percentage 2d, and t dot second for this percentage 2d. So this is a function. Now the execution of the program does not start from a function. It starts from wherever you have the executable statement. So here we have the executable statement t is equal to time, that is you are creating a new object, assigning the values for hour, minute and second, and you are calling the print time function by passing this t as an argument to it. Now this will be the output 10 colon 20 colon 30. So this time will be printed like this. This is an executable program. Type this program in your ideally editor and execute this. You should get this output. You can try changing the time and it see that the program prints the correct output. Now this is another exercise. So write a boolean function called isAfter that takes two time objects t1 and t2 and returns true if t1 follows t2 chronologically and false otherwise. And the challenge is not to use the if statement. That is, t1 should be the time which appears first, after that the t1 should appear. So in that case it should return true, otherwise it should return false. So we've already defined the print time function and the class. So those two you should know to understand this. Now here we are defining another function isAfter t1 and t2. So this isAfter takes two arguments t1 and t2 objects, and this returns true if t1 is after t2, otherwise it has to return false. Now the condition is to to compare the two times without using the if statement. So the time is compared using this greater than operator. Observe that the time is represented as a tuple. t1 dot r, t1 dot minute, t1 dot second is compared with t2 dot r, t2 dot minute and t2 dot second. That is, you are comparing two tuples. So this return, compare this tuple with this tuple and it will return either true or false. So in this case what happens is t1 dot r is first compared with t2 dot r, then t1 minute is compared with t2 dot minute, t1 dot second is compared with t2 dot second. Now this is the function definition. So here is what our the program here is where from the execution of the program starts. t1 is equal to time 1. So you are creating one object t1 with the and assigning these values. You are creating another object time t2 of time type and assigning these values. Then you call the print time 1, print time t2. That is, you are calling the print time function by passing t1 as the argument once, then print time function by passing t2 as the argument. Then you are calling print isAfter t1 and t2. You are making a call to the isAfter function within the print statement. So whatever this returns, that will be printed. Now the arguments we are passing for this, that is, first it is print time t1, so it will print this time 10 hours 20 minutes 30 seconds. Then you are calling print time t2, it prints 11 hours 15 minutes and 30 seconds. So here you have the two outputs. Then print isAfter this. So this function isAfter will return false, so it will print false. Now let's see how to add two times, and we'll write two versions of this adding two time functions. That is, two times we want to add. So there are two different kinds of functions that we are going to write now: pure functions and modifiers. In pure functions, they do not modify any objects passed to it as an argument, and it has no side effects on the arguments that is passed to it. It will not display it, it will not get any input from the user, it only returns a value. Whereas the modifiers modify any object that is passed to it as an argument. So first we'll write the function using pure functions. Now we have an exercise. Create two time objects, start and duration. Start contains the start time of a movie, duration contains the run time of the movie. Now we want to write a add time function that returns when the movie will be done. That is, to this start time we want to add this duration and we want to say when the movie will end. Now here we have the add time function which takes two times as arguments, that is two time objects as arguments t1 and t2. you're creating a new object sum of time type. Then sum dot rs, you're adding as sum dot minute is t1 dot minute plus t2 dot minute. Sum dot second is t1 dot second and t2 dot second. That is, you are adding hour to hour, minute to minute, and second to second, and you return sum. That is the new object you have created here. Now here you are creating the object start. Observe, this is a comment statement. So I have written something after the hash, it's a comment statement. So you are creating a new object start, assigning the values to it, and you are creating a new time object duration and assigning the values to it. That is, the movie starts at 9 o'clock 45 minutes and 0 seconds, and the duration of the movie is 1 hour 35 minutes. Now we call the add time function by passing start and duration. So control goes to the add time function here, adds hour to hour, minute to minute, second to second, and it returns the sum object. And that returned value we are assigning to done. Then print time done, it will print 10 hours 80 minutes 0 seconds. It's just adding hour to hour, minute to minute, second to second. Observe this output. So definitely this is a wrong output. This is not the expected output. Then we'll have to write the appropriate functions. These are pure functions. They're not making any, it's not making any changes to the objects passed to it. Now we have to modify the function. So add time, we are passing two arguments. So we are creating sum, a new object of time type, and hour to hour, minute to minute, and second to second. Now after adding this, if the second is greater than or equal to 60, decrement the second by 60, then increment the minute by 1. If the minute is greater than or equal to 60, decrement the minute and increment the hour and return the sum. Now if you call this add time with the previous example, then it will show 11 hours 20 minutes and 0 seconds. So the movie gets over at this time. Although this function is correct, it's not, it is starting to get big, and we'll see a shorter version later. And here another problem is that how many if the time, the seconds is more than 60 extra, that is if the seconds is more than 120, then how do we handle this? So sometimes it's useful for a function to modify the object it gets as parameter. So in this case we call them as modifiers. So the changes are visible to the caller, and the functions that work this way are called modifiers. The function increment adds a given number of seconds to a time object, and it can be written naturally as a modifier. Here is a rough draft of that increment function. Here is a rough draft of that increment function. So we are writing an increment function which takes two arguments, time object and seconds, an integer, and it adds seconds to the time dot second. So if the second is greater than 60, again decrement the seconds and increment the time. Again, if the minute is greater than or equal to 60, decrement the minute and increment the hour. This is sufficient. So here we are adding seconds to time. Observe, we are not adding two times, two time objects. We are adding number of seconds to some time given. So the first line performs a basic operation. The remainder deals with the special cases we saw as before. And is this function correct? And what happens if the function is much greater than 60? So in that case, it's not enough to carry subtraction once. We'll have to keep doing it until the time second is less than 60. So we have to replace the if statements by the while statements, and we have to perform this operation. Anything that can be done with modifiers can also be done with pure functions. Some programming languages, of course, only allow pure functions, wherein they do not allow the arguments passed to it to be modified. So programs that use pure functions are faster to develop and less error prone than the programs that use modifiers. Of course, these are all the facts, but modifiers are convenient at times, and functional programs tend to be less efficient. In general, we write pure functions only wherever it is reasonable, only when required we write the modifiers, and this approach might be called functional programming style. The development plan demonstrated here is called a prototype development. So what we do here is, first we write one version of the function, so by performing some basic calculations, and then test it, and if there are any errors we patch the errors, that is, we correct the errors. So this approach can be effective especially if we don't have a deep understanding of the problem. As an alternative, we can have a planned development in which high level insight into the problem can make the programming much easier. That is, analyze the problem definition. So analyze what are the different ways we can do it, then start implementing it. Then when we wrote add time and increment, we were effectively doing addition base 60, which is why we had to carry some second to minute and minute to hour conversions. So another approach to the whole program is, we can convert the time objects to integers and take advantage of the fact that the computer knows how to add integers. So here is an example. Here is a function that converts times to integers. So here we are defining a function. Yeah, this D should be a small case. Do not write this as a capital case. Define, convert to seconds, and you are passing some time object to it. Now convert this to an integer. That is, minutes is equal to time dot hour multiplied by 60 plus minutes. That is, we are converting hour to minute. Now the whole minute has to be converted to second. So seconds is equal to minutes multiplied by 60 plus time dot second. Observe, this minutes and seconds are just variables. They're just variables of integer type. They're not attributes. Then return seconds. So the whole time object values is converted to seconds and it returns an integer value. And here is a function that converts integer to a time object. Now that we have used this, converted the time object to an integer, we should also be able to make the other way. That is, we should also be able to convert the integer to the time object. So here we have make time second. So it takes this time as an argument, creates a new object time. Time dot hour is seconds divided by 3600. So this division will give us the integer value of the division, 3600, because 1 hour takes 3600 seconds. So time dot hours is seconds divided by 3600. Now we have converted into hours. Now we are left with some minutes. Now time dot minutes is seconds mod 3600, then divided by 60. So this will convert the seconds to minutes. Then time dot seconds is seconds dot mod 60 will give us the seconds. So you have the hour, minutes and seconds in this time object. Then return time. That is, it returns the object time. So now let us rewrite the add time function. So add time takes two arguments, then seconds is equal to convert 2 seconds t1 plus converts to second time t2. That is, it calls the convert 2 seconds function by passing t1 as an argument once, then it calls this function again by passing t2 as an argument. So the whole time is converted to seconds. Then return make time seconds. Then whatever value this is passing, this is returning, is passed as an argument to the make time function. So this is passed here and it will convert this to this time. So this version is shorter than the original one and easier to demonstrate. So in general, the examples here show that the programs may be written in different ways based on the requirement. We can also add new features to the programs as and when they are required. So hence writing general programs is very necessary. So there are different ways of writing, as I said. So keep practicing all these programs and think what are the different ways in which we can write the programs, and keep practicing. Thank you.